both hands at the same time. This is clarification. All right, we'll begin this with a comment from here. First off, I would like to thank all of those again who participated in the public hearing. Your comments and feedback are informative and helpful. As I mentioned at the beginning and onset of this meeting, the reason that I reached the decision to be here tonight was because during the 2 years that I've been in office as a commission, we have budgeted into our reserves. When you continue to budget into your savings account, it becomes very concerning to me. Part of the reason even budgeting into our reserves, we have cut significantly from the requests that have been made to us. Millions and millions of dollars. I don't remember the exact amount last year, but I think we shaved like $9 million off of what the other elected officials in this county said they needed to provide you with essential services. So I think we've always approached it from a cut first standpoint. That is the mindset of the elected officials here. It's certainly been my mindset as we've looked at this. That becomes a trend that is concerning to me. If you continue to dip into that, at what point do we reach, as was mentioned by one of the comments, a point of deficit where we have to do something? And at that point, do we have to do something completely drastic to get us out of the hole? As I looked at those particular numbers, the historical pattern that's been recently, I said, okay, so if we need to, what if we hold the certified rate? The last couple of years, we've actually, by state mandate, reduced the percentage that you pay as income tax because the state sets that rate for us, and that rate went down. And that was the rate we set. So I said, well, what if we hold the rate so that we pay the same percentage that we were paying before? I felt like it's a reasonable approach to addressing what I see as a pattern that is of concern to me, so that we can meet some of those needs. And that's why we're here tonight. I will tell you right now, one thing that I've certainly felt on my part as your elected official, and this is my fault, and I'll hold myself accountable for that, and a commitment to do better. I felt to inform you appropriately of my positions. I certainly, and if we continue this tonight, my intent would be through this weekend to hold a series of town halls to explain to you why I reached that position, to give you the justification and the numbers that led me to that decision. I'll shoulder that and accept responsibility that I have shared some things out there. The personal emails that have been sent to me, I've tried to return and respond to, but I clearly have failed in that regard, and I'll hold responsible for that because I think you need that information on why I reached that position better. To help, explain why I got there, and to get your feedback. Your feedback for me is very critical. One of the concerns I had immensely is I have had a lot of people who've said we need this tax increase. Unfortunately, none of them were here this evening to speak up for that, and that's a little troubling to me. I'm happy to stand up here, and if I hold some town halls this weekend, I'm happy to stand in front of you and face you. I'm not afraid to defend my positions. I'm not afraid to explain my reasonings or why I feel the way I do and get feedback. One thing that I ran on without question was a willingness to always be open-minded, to listen to all sides of an issue and do what I felt was in the best interest of the county. And that's a much more engaging process than just one meeting this evening. And so that's kind of a few of my thoughts. As I mentioned prior, I look at some of the demands on us. I look at the courthouse. Okay, I look at the road contracts that we have. So the number one complaint I get is potholes. I look at how do we continue to keep up. I just recently, several of you from the Midwest, I just recently delivered a horse to Ohio. That was the worst experience of my life. I was so sore I couldn't get out of bed the next day because the roads just beat me to death driving on them. And after that trip, I went, how in the world do I make sure Utah County doesn't end up with roads like this? One is efficient government, and two is we have to have the revenue and money to pay for those type of roads. And that's the harsh reality of it. Does growth truly keep pace with that? And that's one of the things that we have to look at. And I need to do a better job of explaining where I feel those numbers are that have said, maybe this is why this is the right thing to do. Because those are the items that I see of the essence. I think our public safety is critical. I think it's critical that we have competent attorneys to make sure that those who violate the laws of this county and this state and the U.S. Are held accountable and that justice is done. I think it's important that we do have quality employees to provide you with a quality service. And I think we do have that. But you know what? Those people need paid too. Just like any good business is run. Do I make a good salary here? Yes. I wouldn't have come here if I was making, I've lost some income by taking this position. Not significant, but I certainly wouldn't have come here, for $50,000 because I'm making way more than that in my other occupation. And so I do see this as somewhat of a public service. And it's one that I do not intend to continue on for a long time with. I made a commitment to try and serve the people of this county and do what I felt was right in that service. And I appreciate your feedback. And my personal feelings for the other commissioners would be, I would like the opportunity to find a way this weekend. For me, I'm happy to stand on this alone and go meet with you on a more individual basis in maybe 2 or 3 town halls that my secretary can get set up for this weekend to where I can address these issues more in an environment where we can have dialogue. Because I would like that dialogue. And so that would actually be my request, is that I have that opportunity to explain my position better.
I have a problem giving you a motion to continue.
I think he said I have no problem giving a motion to continue, correct?
That's correct. If that's what you would like, that would be fine. If you want us to still make comments tonight,
I think I would love to have the opportunity for each of you to have comment. And no, I'm going to just address it straight up because I know I'll be accused of it. No, absolutely, this is not a snowball.
Sure.
And anybody who knows me personally knows that I take dialogue seriously and that I take the input from people very seriously and that I value the opinions of the people in this room and I respect that process.